I am now. Yes.
Okay, cool, perfect. Just because I'll put that up on YouTube
Yeah.
because it'll be a little
Fine.
better, but a little better quality.
No
Um,
problem. I'll put a
you
tweet out
wanna?
saying we're live.
Yeah, we have a surprise special guest.
Destiny just announced their next DLC.
Oh, well, we'll talk about that too, I guess. Breaking news as we record a podcast. It's a
That makes
novel
a
thing.
change.
I want to see. I want to see what changes they're making here. Also, I don't have Dropbox anymore.
That's fine. I can sign into my account.
Okay.
You don't have Dropbox anymore?
I don't use it. I mean, this is the only thing I used it for.
But you didn't. You don't have to pay for it. Why'd you delete it?
It was $10 a month.
Oh, you had the pro version.
Well, I kept running out of space.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. That's fine. Everyone heard that on the stream, I guess.
Tweet sent out. Yep.
I was arguing about Dropbox.
Behind the scenes look.
Yeah, like so free live talking games.
Oh, I was talking. I was watching the live bombcasts, and
I've put a tweet out, Bobby.
I'm doing it from my account.
Oh, okay.
They went to break and thought they were clear. They weren't clear.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Nothing juicy though.
I wouldn't think so. Goodness. Twitch.tv.
Alrighty.
Talking games. It's so stupid when like things get like auto-corrected their URLs. Because it'll automatically make a space between talking and games for me when I do it. And so it like links to another like Twitch channel if I don't fix it. All right. Are we ready? We ready to make this happen?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it's up live.
Yeah, it looks a bit jerky to me.
Oh yeah, what are you streaming at here?
1080. I'll drop it down a bit.
No, I mean like the bitrate.
Oh, 6,000.
You might want to drop it below 6,000. It depends on the time with Twitch. Sometimes it will.
Okay.
It'll be a douche about 6,000. Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
All right, cool. They need to see us in crisp 1080p, Huw.
Sexy and high definition.
This is the good. This is the good stuff. All right. What is It's the 12th, huh?
Yeah.
Tomorrow's gonna be the 12th. All right. Hello, everybody. It's April 12th, 2018, and you're listening to the Talking Games podcast. I'm Bobby Shortle, and I'm here with Huw Perry.
Hello.
And special guest, Mr. Justin Townson.
Hi.
How you doing, man?
It was really weird not to be introduced right after you.
Sorry, why?
I know.
You're not the regular anymore.
But for like 150 episodes, it was always you or whoever was host talking, then me. But I'm glad to pass that chair to Huw. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah,
we to have you back.
You had a big past weekend. You went to Pax East in Boston.
I did.
So we're going to talk about that for sure.
Was that a Boston accent, Huw?
Boston, yeah. You went knack. I've watched that film with Sandra Bullock. Was it The Heat?
Yes, that is a film with Sandra Bullock. I have not seen The Heat, so I didn't know
of
there was
all
a Boston
movies focused around Boston. You chose
The
Heat.
Have you seen The Departed? That's
basically Boston.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, we've become an accent show in the time you've been gone. I don't know if you've listened.
I've caught up a little bit on that.
The last couple of weeks have been hot and heavy with the accents. Yeah, we're going to talk about some games, and we're going to talk about your time at PAX East. We got some news to talk about, and we got some Battle Royale games to talk about. A new one that came out that Huw and I played a few hours of today.
Yeah.
That we're kind of anxious to speak about, and just talk about the genre in general, how we feel about it. Now we're a year plus into its life cycle as a kind of force, and let's see where we are and see what we think new games can do and if they have a chance. Is kind of what I want to talk about. Before we get into any of that, let's talk about PAX East, Justin. You didn't go last year.
I haven't gone in 2 years.
Right. So 2 years ago was the last time you went?
Yeah, the last time I actually went was with you and Rob.
Oh, Rob was there.
He was there.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yep.
That's right. Yeah, I came up with Brian Barbarossa.
And then I think the year after that, I went to PSX in San Francisco, and then I've taken a break for the last 2 years.
That's right. So first of all, most important thing, how was the weather in Boston?
Freezing cold.
As always.
Well, we haven't gone because I usually go with my friend Eric, and it is unbelievably cold every time we go because we have to stand outside the convention center for about 2 hours before the doors open if you want to have a chance at avoiding a 4-hour line. And it is right over by the Boston Harbor. So it is very cold, and it's usually in February, March. So we've been waiting for a later showing, and this year was April. So we were like, sweet, let's do it. It's got to be at least 50 degrees. It was 25 and snowing and really cold. So as always, the weather is going to be miserable. If I go in June, it will be freezing there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the show itself was different, a little bit different this year. We went in, usually we have a game plan of like what we're going to be looking for. I didn't know who was going to be there. We kind of just went in freewheeling this time. And it's definitely gotten bigger from the last time I was there. I'll say at least 30 to 40% bigger.
Okay.
Last time you were there, remember, in the show floor, it eventually would stop at a certain point, and then there was just like the queue lines there.
Yeah.
All of that is show floor now. But it's a much different show from when I first started going. When I first started going, there were really huge games there. I think that was one of the first times they had ever shown what's Rockstar's detective game.
L.A.
Noire.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
That was there. Like big games like that. Watch Dogs, big, huge booths for these games. And it has really shifted away from that. I think the biggest game that was there was Detroit Become Human.
Mm-hmm.
Like PlayStation was there in force for the first time I think I've seen. Usually like they would have like a game or two. Xbox always has a big force there. Nintendo sometimes will.
Yeah. Those
guys had their own spots up and running, but no like big tentpole games for any of them. Mm-hmm. Sony had, like I said, like a big thing for Detroit Become Human, which is whatever. Right. And then a lot of VR stuff. And then some like, they had like maybe 5 or 6 TV set up with a different game running on each one, and then on the backside of that, it would have another 5. So I got to try a bunch of stuff there, some cool indie stuff. This game, Minute, which is MINIT, which is like a Zelda game where you're only alive for a minute, and you have to try and complete as much as you can in that minute, and then sometimes your stats will carry over until your next life. It's like a weird little roguelike thing, but it's in black and white, and some of the writing has been pretty adorable. So I ended up picking that up. I haven't actually got to sit down and play that here yet. I got to play Extinction, which is the new game from Iron Galaxy, which I liked, but I was worried that what I had played was going to be the gist of the game, and from what reviews have said, that's what it sounds like. Xbox had State of Decay 2, so I got to try that. That comes out next month. It's included in Game Pass. Yeah, we only got to play it for 10 minutes. So, like, that's the thing is, like, I played a lot of things for 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but playing State of Decay for 10 minutes or, Divinity Original Sin 2 for 20 in co-op is not really, like, what that game is meant to be like. No. You could play around the multiplayer in 10 minutes and be like, oh, I like this, or, like a 15-minute chunk of, like, an open world game where you're running around. But, like, in, like, a very systems-heavy game, it's a bad way to show those things.
Yeah.
So yeah, I got to try that. They had Sea of Thieves there for Xbox. They had Bulow down there, which I'm still not convinced is an actual real video game.
They said it's coming out this year. We'll see.
Sure.
We'll see.
No problem. Yeah, sure. Nintendo had like Wolfenstein there. Then Tropical Freeze, a couple other like games that are either just came out or coming out. A couple Nindies, as they say. Oh. It's super PC focused. So I got to play a game called Dauntless, which is like, I want to say a more streamlined version of Monster Hunter with gigantic style of graphics.
Yes, I've played some of that actually. I played some of the beta. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I enjoyed what I played of it, and I would like to see that come to a console, which I'm sure it will with the popularity of Monster Hunter.
I'm sure. Yeah. Any reason why it won't?
Eric was like, let's play this MMO. It was something of creation. Some Flames of Creation or something like that. It was just like, We waited for like 2 hours to play this MMO, and it's like, again, not the type of game that demos well in that type of setting.
Right.
I played this really cool game called Earthfall, which is a PC game, and it's coming to consoles. It is Left 4 Dead with aliens. Very similar to that. Same type of basic concept. It felt really good to play. I think they said it's coming to consoles. It's out on Steam now for like $15. And it's coming to consoles, I think, later this spring.
Okay.
Definitely a game that like Eric and I enjoyed playing. We actually thought about going back for it again. We did not survive. We survived for like 3 minutes the first time, and they were like, "You can go again." It's like, okay. The guys we were with were not. I don't know. They talked a big game, but I led the team in headshots, and I was like, I'm not used to playing with a mouse. But then we actually we were like, okay, maybe we don't rush into this, and we made it to like the final stand where you have to survive, and it was just completely overwhelming. It was a fun show. I mean, the thing that's real different about these shows now is they're just so focused on streaming.
Yeah.
It's everything. Battlegrounds and Fortnite were at every booth. Battlegrounds had a massive 100-player tournament going with 100 different kiosks set up. Xbox had like a big kiosk for Battlegrounds. Fortnite was everywhere. So you expect like Mixer and Twitch to be there, especially Twitch. And Mixer had their own setup. We're becoming very familiar with Mixer because Bobby and I are part of Your Three Dads. We stream a couple of times a week on Mixer, doing dad things and playing video games. So I've become very familiar with their Hype Zone. Have you guys talked about the Hype Zone on
No,
here?
not really, no.
So the Hype Zone is, if you're familiar with the NFL, they have the Red Zone channel on the NFL, which just if you watch the Red Zone, it is anytime a team gets in within 20 yards of scoring a touchdown. It just cuts to that game. It's like the best part of every game. So the Hype Zone, they have one for Fortnite and they have one for PUBG. And it is when you hit the final 10 to 15 alive.
Yeah.
And it could be a squad game, it could be a duo game, it could be a solo game, and it's going to cut to some person that is streaming and is, congrats, you are now in the Hype Zone and you have hundreds of people watching you. So they had that running live. So I was watching that running live from a foot away, which is always kind of neat. And then they have streamers set up in these booths. So I've been watching this Hype Zone a lot lately. And so I recognized streamers for that were always on there in these booths. And so it's just a weird thing. But also in addition to Twitch and Mixer, Facebook Gaming was there. Geico Gaming was there. Chips Ahoy was there. It was weird.
Hashtag brands.
Yeah. But it was just so interesting to see the way that the show has shifted from game, almost strictly all about games to being 50% games, 40% streaming focused, and 10% tabletop gaming.
They have their own tabletop gaming show now,
which
too.
is PAX Unplugged.
Yeah.
But a bunch of tabletop tournaments and stations and things were all set up. The indie side was, I think, the weakest I've seen there on the actual indie side of the show. A couple of interesting looking games, but nothing that really that I felt wow, I have to play this, that I didn't already know about. Dead Cells was there running on, I think, one of the consoles, and Guacamelee 2. But you look and you're well, there's a line to play this. I'm gonna buy these. They don't need to play this. Let me see what's around here.
In the case of Dead Cells, you can literally play it right now.
Yeah.
Damn fine game it is too.
Yeah, they're hitting 1.0 soon. They said they said they released their last big content patch.
Yes.
It's feature complete. They're going to be going 1.0.
I haven't played that game yet. But as Bobby said the other day, that is very much my thing, and I'm probably going to play a lot of
definitely.
it. So yeah, it was a really it was a good show. I got to meet the guys from Giant Bomb, so I was excited about that. Just very different than it used to be, because I played Overwatch for the first time there, and there's nothing remotely on that level. Final Fantasy 14 was there again.
Right, yeah. Forever.
Not gigantic. The Behemoth will always be at PAX.
Yeah.
It's
they have a new game that just came out.
Pit People. But they were demoing that game the last time I was at PAX when it was still Game 4.
Yeah. They were demoing Battle Block Theater for like 7 years at PAX. How much do you think of that, though, is just the situation where we are right now with games this particular year, with Fortnite being so huge and Battlegrounds being so huge, and them being the games that are kind of dominating like the conversation right now? And we're in a weird spot too, because like none of the companies have games that they've announced that are coming out not really soon that they're talking about, right?
Like here's an example of something I thought would have been there, or I was hoping. It's like God of War is like 3 weeks away,
right? But they're not talking that like reviews can't hit for God of War until tonight.
I know, but what I'm saying is like they had The Last of Us playable at one of the PAXs that I went to, and that game so we would say that PAX was in like February. Last of Us came out in June.
No, I know.
They're playable.
Yeah.
So like I was hoping that like Spider-Man or like something big could be there for the people that are going there, other than like Detroit. But man,
they'll
Sony
they'll show Detroit anywhere.
They'll show Detroit over and over again.
I think that's kind of indicative of the way games are sort of marketed and sort of announced and released these days anyway, because I think I don't know whether it's just me, but I've kind of noticed in the last sort of 18 months to 2 years that companies are a lot more sort of tight-lipped and keep their cards close to their chest, and they're like, games don't get release dates very early anymore, and people don't get to play them very early anymore. And I think that's like, especially with the bigger games, it just seems to be there's been a bit of a pitch shift in the way that companies approach how they get their games out to people. So maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. And I just think also if you look at Sony right now, like I don't think anybody in public has played God of War.
No,
like they don't have enough floor of any show. Like at all, even a public E3 this past year, they didn't have it there. They didn't have playable. Spider-Man, also the same thing, and they didn't even reveal Spider-Man until what, like the date for Spider-Man until, was it when you were at PAX?
It was right before
you left for PAX. Like they just haven't shown a lot of stuff. And then you look, I'm surprised some like Microsoft wasn't like showing like Crackdown or
Crackdown. We have no idea what Crackdown is.
But
It'd be interesting to see at E3.
Position, I think Microsoft's like a nice surprise, right?
Yeah,
something like that.
But like even Microsoft, like they had State of Decay, which I think looks really cool, and I played it and I liked what I saw, and it is the next big game that they're going to try and sell you on Game Pass, and they had 10 kiosks for it, which is not a lot. Another thing I'll say about PAX: this is the first year they had a Thursday day. It's a 4-day convention now. And if you were ever going to go, make sure you go on Thursday.
We'll see how long that lasts. So you used to say the same thing about Comic-Con. New York Comic-Con.
NYCC the first year I went there.
It's always still going to be paradise. It will still always be easier than the weekends because we went Thursday, Friday, and for like a very little bit on Saturday. And the difference between Thursday and Friday was stark.
I bet.
Like crazy different. And then the difference from Friday to Saturday was almost the same jump. Like you couldn't even breathe when you were in there on Saturday. It's like I said, it was a good show. I came away feeling like I always do, that I want to build a PC. I felt good about a couple of games, but at previous PAX, like I came away being like, strong or like very hyped about more than one or two. And like the strongest thing I felt when I played there was like I'm really looking forward to State of Decay, and that Earthfall game I think is going to be pretty dope. But other than that, like Divinity Original Sin, cool. Like I'm glad it's coming to console, I can play it, but nothing that's going to raise my hype meter.
Right? Yeah.
I'm excited for State of Decay too.
Yeah, looks cool. By the way, we've heard from one Matt Wood. He said at 6:36, "Hey, are we recording?" And I said, "Yes, right now." He goes, "Wait, am I late? I have Discord pulled up." I said, "Matt, we started around 6, like always."
That's the thing with teachers. See, they're always so organized.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's awesome. PAX. I need to get back there.
Yeah, I want
one
to.
of-
I
one of
think
these years.
maybe 1 year, my trip to New York, well, will encompass also a trip to Boston with you guys for PAX.
That would be awesome.
I would love to go with you guys.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
I was there, and I was texting Bobby a good bit while I
Yeah.
was there, talking about the things that I had seen. And there's a couple of games that I haven't mentioned, but I sent a picture of the Bulow booth, and I was like, I feel like there's something in front of me, but I'm not sure. And Bobby, like within like a second, is like, "Why did you send me this blank picture?" And Eric is like, "You two are on like speaking the same language," because he does because Eric like pays attention to games, but like kind of at a distance, and he really focuses on like his like whatever's in his lane. So like an MMO or like the MOBA scene or whatever. So like he has no idea that Below's been in development for
Right.
X amount of years. He just remembers falling asleep next to me once while I was sitting there at the booth playing it. He's like, "Is this still the same game?" Like, yes, it's the exact same setup. They had these weird little bench chairs too.
I always confuse that game and that Capcom game, Deep Down,
Oh, deep down, I would love to know what happened with that game.
because in my mind they're like the same thing in my head. Like I know they're not the same thing.
They're not even close to
but
the same
they were,
thing.
but they were around the same time. I feel
Deep
like.
Down was shown when they announced the PS4 for the first
Yeah,
time in
yeah,
New
yeah.
York, and that is the
Um,
last of that game.
Alejandro,
Oh no, is that a TPS?
sorry.
Go ahead.
Alejandro has asked in the chat on Twitch. A question for you, Justin. How big was the presence for VR at PAX?
Let's see. So PlayStation was there. So they had five or six different games running. So you'd wait to play one of those games. One of them being like Shadow of the Colossus, Rick and Morty one, some other ones that I wasn't sure about. Over by Facebook, they had two Oculuses running. That's it.
Okay.
And then
At
off
Facebook.
like
Oh, wow.
at
They were
the Facebook
probably
gaming thing,
scanning
were-
your face and giving away
Yeah,
the details.
not like so like
and...
so like Facebook gaming had this big thing where they were having somebody on to talk about a game or whatever with a couch and like people sit down
Mhm.
and on like the back side of that they had a line for Oculus and there was two stations set up. And then like as you walk around the indie part, there are like scattered about VR stations. Like, our game's in VR, try it out. And then way off to the side they had like a thing that I think you had to queue up for. And it was like a more intense VR thing where I think there were like maybe 10 or 12 stations set up with, and we never really like went over there because you know me, I do very well with VR. If they had a Vive Pro, I would have tried that, but I don't think anybody had a Vive Pro at the show.
It's probably because it's so
yeah.
expensive.
Yeah. I mean, they had like a lot of PC manufacturers are there, like Asus and Alienware and all this. And so they were showing like, hey, we're Vive ready. Like, and so it was like this tower that you could buy like right then and there. I think it was like $2,500 or whatever, something crazy. But like for that type of stuff, so they were still demoing like or like advertising like, hey, you want VR? This thing is VR ready right here, right now. It's just never. It'll never be like on the same length as just like the other things. It'll never be like as console gaming or as PC gaming.
More importantly, what level of talk or swag or booths were dedicated to cryptocurrency?
I didn't see any.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised. Color me surprised. Yeah. Yeah, VR, that year that I went, VR was very big there. They had like every booth.
It's still, I will say like scattered about. If you want to try VR there, you will be able to for sure, and it won't take you very long to do it. So there, it still has a presence there.
All right, cool. So let's move on to talk about some video games.
I like video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've all been playing, I think, to some extent, Far Cry 5.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And I want to speak about it because I'm playing it. I've probably put like not that much time into it. I've been kind of playing it while I wait for us to start playing PUBG or something like that. Like that's been my like level of playing Far Cry 5. But I probably put, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 hours into it.
That is more than I thought you were going to.
I can tell you I'm getting to my limit of how much I'm going to play it at this point. I'll start and kind of we'll go from there, because like my like of the Far Cry series is very sort of in theory and not in practice. Like I like the idea of the worlds and how they get really goofy. You can do a bunch of different stuff. That stuff is all cool. But I've just never connected with the games really at all. And there are things I really like about Far Cry 5. Like I think that Ubisoft has smartly begun to get away from their, hey, climb this tower, unlock a million icons type of thing. So instead in Far Cry 5, you go around to NPCs, and when you sort of like encounter missions and stuff like that, you talk to people or you find like things to read in the world, and then you get missions popping up on as you go along. It's a little bit more of an organic way to get missions. But but they've replaced that with, I guess, you can literally stand nowhere for more than 15 seconds without 17 different trucks filled with crazy gun-toting cultists pulling up around you and starting a giant battle.
As you said to me and Andy the other day in our little chat,
Yeah.
You're like, Far Cry has no chill, huh?
No chill at all. It's always popping off, always. Like It's never, no matter where you are, unless you're staying like in the middle of like your base, like, or like one of the strongholds. Even when you're there,
you still might get shot at by somebody.
Yeah, or a fucking Bulow or Wolverine or a bear
a plane
or something.
will go over or something.
Yeah. So, but there are things that happen that I've liked, right? Like I think that like I was taking a outpost and I just happened to go around a certain way, and I climbed up onto one of those like those towers they have, and there was somebody up there and I killed them, and there just so happens to be up there was like a mounted giant machine gun, and I was able to take out a lot of the guys with it. But also, it had to be one of the ones where a plane was like the last thing you had to do to capture the outpost or whatever. So the plane was like no biggie, because I was on this gun and I just shot it down in like 2 seconds. Could have gone totally differently. I've had the stuff with animals where like you're fighting somebody and all of a sudden like Wolverine jumps out of nowhere and like tackles the person that you're fighting, and like that kind of like emergent stuff is I think is a lot of fun. But and there are things I think they did, and I'm curious what you guys think about this stuff, because they changed the perk system like completely, overhauled from other games, where it's become more of like a, hey, if you do like these challenges, you get perk points. But the way the tree is laid out is like a little bit weird to me, where I don't understand like some of the skills are like just things that make the game like better to play, like a third weapon slot. I'm like, do I have to spend 8 perk points to unlock a weapon slot?
To be fair, you get those perk points at a ridiculous rate.
You do, but I shouldn't have to spend my like skill tree points on holding another gun.
I feel like other games do that.
I don't know. I just didn't like but for this game where it's like you really kind of need like an assault rifle and something that makes things go explodey like at all times for like whatever's going on. Like once I unlocked that third slot, I gotta carry like the rocket launcher around with me, and the game became like infinitely more fun.
I don't even think I've unlocked the third slot.
It was like the second thing I did. I was like, I need to save my points and just get this thing.
I just did health, because in Far Cry games you get wrecked.
You do get wrecked very fast. But you have these partners now that you can like.
I don't hire them. I don't know why. I've just kind of avoided doing it.
Oh wow! I have the dog with me always.
I
had the dog.
A legend.
I'm gonna get Cheeseburger, which is a giant bear.
Yeah, Boomer's awesome. Boomer's kind of like D-Dog in Metal Gear.
Yeah.
He like marks people for you and attacks them. Yeah, exactly. So that like that's I don't love the perk system, but I do like, it's a good mindless game. I do feel a bit like I kind of have the same like 2 or 3 weapons always. Like I'm just like all the NPCs have the same gun, and I want to have like a decent okay gun, it's either I have to have a single shot rifle that has a scope on it, or like this iron sights.
Have you bought any guns yet from one of the?
No, I haven't, because I haven't had enough money to buy them.
Oh, so have you been doing this? Go ahead, Huw. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say one of my big gripes about the game is like the lack of like variation when it comes to the weapons. Because like even when you can buy some, it's like, okay, cool, you can get like, there's a really good sniper rifle you can get, and there's like one assault rifle you can get that's really good, but they all end up being a bit much of a muchness after a while. They're all very similar. There's not one which is sort of like, there's not an assault rifle which is like by far and away the better one. There's just like sort of, you've got an AK, but you might have another AR of a different type, which the stats are only very, very slightly different. So like, other than buying guns that have got like a Stars and Stripes skin on it, like it gets to the point where like I've had the same loadout since about, like, I've played the game for probably maybe 20, 25 hours. I've had the same loadout, like, in terms of weapons for probably 3/4 of that. And I've just never, like, every time I look at the gun shop, I'm just like, there's nothing here I want to buy. Like, the only thing I've bought from a shop since then is a fishing rod. So...
I think they said they were going to be adding weapons as they go along.
I mean, that makes sense. Also, the autosave system is terrible.
It is bad.
It's terrible. I drove all the way to that fucking Falls End town. I died because I had an auto drive. So, and also it just pulled me like directly in the middle of the town. And talk about shit popping off right away. It was just like I was in the middle of like every cult member in the world with every weapon, which is like surrounding me, shooting at me. So I died, and then it was like, oh, you got here. We should probably checkpoint you and leave you like right outside town or whatever. Nope, it sent me all the way back to the last outpost I had captured, which then meant I had to drive all the way back down to the town. Like that stuff really bothers me about games like
Bobby
this. But
kryptonite right there.
yeah, it absolutely is. I'm like, wow, that's just terrible.
Yeah, it's a bad checkpoint system.
It's a bad checkpoint system. It's crazy because like you think. It doesn't seem like the kind of thing they would get wrong. Like they're very good at that kind of stuff. The last thing I'll just say, and because I want to talk about the tone of the game just a little bit, and I'm not even going to talk about what they talked about when they first announced it. Whatever, I don't care. That this is what the game is. But even what the game is wildly all over the place. Like there are times where you go on missions and it's like, oh, this wife and husband died trying to protect their little kid, like they're on top of their child with like bullets in their back, and like the one where you find Boomer, where you find the dog. It's like this super serious thing.
Yeah.
And then like the next mission, you're like running over bulls with tractors to get their testicles so you can make for the balls festival in the town. And I'm like, guys, like you can't have it both ways if because you don't do either one. You do the crazy stuff fine, but you don't do the serious stuff well. So just like leave it alone, leave it away. And it just feels a little bit like they want to have like the juice of like, oh, this is a little bit like edgy. Like look at the place we're doing it. Look at like the topics and the political stuff we're not really talking about, but we're kind of using as like background to make you think about it. But we're not going to talk about it. And like I don't care if I don't need to be a political game. I don't give a shit. But like don't use it as like window dressing because then it's just stupid. Like I just don't get it. I don't get why you would do it. And listen, Far Cry has never been subtle or good about doing anything with political stuff. It just happens to be that this one is like in our backyard, so like it's a little bit more like I can see the holes more at this point or whatever, I guess. But yeah, so I don't think it's a bad game. And it solves some of the problems I've had with past Far Cry games a little bit. Like a point where like I could see myself if I had nothing else to play, kind of just mindlessly playing a couple hours every night.
Have you done any of the stashes?
Yeah, and those are cool.
Those are really cool.
Yeah, the stashes are cool. They're like little puzzle things. You have to like figure out how to get through them, or there's like a trick to each one. And the ones I played and the ones I've seen, like I saw like there's like a haunted house one.
I haven't seen that one.
Or whatever.
Yeah, that one's fun.
I saw the Waypoint guys stream it, and it was like I was like, oh, that's really cool. That stuff is neat. Yeah, again, there's some really smart game design things in the game. I don't think that. I think that it has really promising stuff, and obviously, it's like Ubisoft's best-selling game of all time at this point or something, or
Ubisoft's on a roll.
best start of all time for them or whatever. So good for them. It's just for me, it's not hitting for me in a really strong way, nor that I really expected to, but in different ways than I expected, I should say. It's not hitting.
As usual, I'm on the opposite side of the fence. I like the Far Cry formulas. I mean, you talked a lot about the way that the things that it does well, things that it doesn't do well, and like I agree with most of that. But for me, like, it is one of those perfect sit there, cross this off the lists, move on, do the next thing, cross this off the list type of games. Visually, it's really nice looking, which you think like, you're in like Montana, like they can't really vary the way that the scenery looks very much. And while that's true, what they make, so that I've seen so far, they make it work very well. And sneakily has really good music.
It is some good music, yeah.
Like though, like you put on the radio in the car, and there are these like super like Christian rock or like church hymns that are just unbelievably get really good. They get stuck in your head, and I wasn't expecting that from the game. So like, yeah, I'm probably like 10 hours into it, and I'm enjoying it. In the let me jump in here and cause some mayhem, and like I've started a fight, and I've now somebody else has joined this fight, and then I backed up into a bear, and the bear joins the fight, and then a guy in the woods that was on a 4x4 is now joining. It's like just too much happening. We didn't talk at all about the Far Cry arcade thing, which I think is wild.
It's cool.
So like they've created their own build your own map system, which none of the stuff I've seen is very good, but like you can pretty much set your own little campaign for people to like download and run through, and then play like deathmatch and team deathmatch games on. It's not great, but it's a wild idea that people are kind of like running with and creating other versions of other games maps in there. So like I've played team deathmatch on what's the super popular Call of Duty one, the one with the houses.
Oh, Nuketown?
Nuketown.
Yeah.
I played like a couple of different versions of Nuketown, like pretty much step for step Nuketown. So it's a neat thing. I'll be interested to see like as this game goes on how they add to it.
Yeah, I mean, Huw, what about you? How are you? What stuff standing out as positive for you? What's negative for you?
I think I'm kind of sort of like midway between the two of you. Like it's a hell of a lot of fun. Like Justin said, it's a very good sort of game where you can just be like, you're constantly doing stuff. You can just do something, bring up the map, highlight it, go to it, get it done, move on to the next thing. And it's a great game for like going through that loop. I mean, what you said about it being totally all over the place, Bobby, I completely agree with, because like you say, there's stuff in there which is like really grim, very serious, and then you've got like there's missions where you walk up to like there's like a fucking table and there's like sparklers above it, and you end up like recreating like these stunt races that this guy called Clutch Dixon did, who's like the game's version of Evil Knievel, and there's like this like hair rock song playing in the background where they're singing a song about him like flying fucking high and stuff like that, and it just goes from like being quite funny and silly to being like quite grim and serious, and it doesn't quite play well, and I think so far from what I've seen of like, because basically it's sort of the map is separated into the different areas, and each of the sort of big bad's lieutenants run an area each, and none of their like motivations really seem to be like, they're a bit sort of they're not very strong really. Like there's a woman in it called Faith who's just basically like trying to get people high and make them do her bidding, but you never really sort of like, so far I don't feel like I understand why what's happening is happening and what their end game is meant to be. But like in the main, like it's one of those games where you can easily pick holes in it, but it's also one of those games, if you forgive its shortfalls, then like you can have a hell of a lot of fun with it. And like co-op mode is damn good fun. Like you could just, the insanity in co-op mode is like tripled compared to like when you're playing on your own, because you can, between the two of you, you can just make just stupidly crazy things happen.
Yeah, I just wish that the progress carried over for both people.
Yes.
It sucks that it's only for the host.
It's weird though, because if you jumped into they're further along, how would it carry your progress? Like, I think your stats carry, but not the story progress.
Yeah, you keep your perk points, and so basically.
Oh, you do. I didn't know that.
Me and my
Okay.
friend.
Okay.
So, me and my friend who are playing it together, basically, like we all flip flop between, like, he'll join my game, I'll join his. So say like Justin mentioned the prepper stashes. We can go and do a few prepper stashes in my game, get the 3 perk points for completing each one, and get like a shit ton of perk points and unlock, new skills and stuff. But then we could easily just like back out the game. He can invite me to his, and then we can do the prepper stashes a second time and get the perk points all over again.
Interesting.
So in that way, you could probably fairly easily, if you had like, because is it just 2-player co-op, or it's up to 4?
It's 2.
Isn't it?
No, I think it's only 2-player co-op. Yeah,
I think it's 2. Yeah.
But even then, like you can, with just 2 people, if you put your minds to it, you could easily cheese the like skill tree in the game and like unlock everything really quickly if you wanted to. But yeah, that whole thing with like doing the story missions and your progress. So like, if my friend joins me, we do a story mission together. That mission is complete on my map, but he still has in his game, he has to do it again. Which is just a bit frustrating because, having played other games, like I mentioned last week, like The Division, you play that game, you do the mission, and you've both done it type thing.
Yeah.
So that seems a bit odd to me. So yeah, I mean, it's a game with its flaws, but it's also a game that's like very, very good fun as well. And like Justin said, it looks damn good.
It's a good looking game. I've only been playing for 5 hours, and I already have 2 side missions to go rescue 2 very good trucks.
Yeah.
These 2 people are like, 2 different people are like, I have the most special truck. The cult has it. You need to go get my truck back.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that's okay. Eventually you get to the point where you're rescuing planes instead of
I just went to, what's his name? Nick Rye's place or whatever. And it was popping off there too.
It's popping up everywhere in that game.
And I shot a bunch of people, and you don't understand, they took my plane, it's probably over here. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, go get your plane, I guess. He's like, I would do it, but I got a wife. I'm like, what, dude? Why do I have to go risk my life and kill 7,000 people on the way there?
Let's not think about that too much.
When you drive a car, like you can't go like 20 feet on the highway without going ding, 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 ding. And most of the time it doesn't matter because you keep going. Sometimes they chase you though.
Yeah, they do.
And I threw dynamite in one of their cars and blew them up. That was pretty fun. That kind of stuff is fun.
That stuff is fun.
That
That's
stuff
what
is
Far
fun.
Cry is good for.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would take. That's why I wish the co-op wasn't one-sided with the story stuff, because it seemed like a game that would be like a shit ton of fun just to play all the way through with somebody else.
Yeah, they just don't have to care about trophies.
Yeah, but I don't care. But I'm saying like I would always have to play with you if I wanted
totally
to,
right.
Anyway, something about Far Cry 5 out now from Ubisoft.
Do you know a game that I've been playing?
What?
That I haven't got to talk about on the podcast because I'm not on a podcast anymore?
What?
I played to completion The Witcher 3.
Oh, that's right. Yes,
wow.
that's true.
About damn time.
Yes. And when I say to completion, I finished the main quest.
Yeah.
I put about 51 hours into that game.
You didn't Jackie Turner it.
I didn't Jackie Turner it.
Yeah, Jackie Ormond, I guess now. I should.
Yeah. Yeah, I did like 51 hours in that game. Finished the main quests, and I feel good about my progress in it. I'm very much looking forward to seeing Cyberpunk when it comes out, because they are very, 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 very good at storytelling.
Yeah.
All the side quests in that game that I did were, none of them were fetch quests. The writing was strong throughout. I thought the characters never having played the first 2 games. I got enough out of the story to care about a lot of the characters.
Don't you feel like that one? I think it's like right after the first section of the game where you end up at like the king's castle, and they ask you all these questions.
It's like, I don't know.
And I was playing that game, and I was like, they lived. Like,
yeah, I was the same. I was like, oh.
If you don't, I mean, obviously on PS4 you wouldn't have a save because they didn't have a game. But if you have like the PC version and you play Witcher 1 and 2 on there, like you can have choices that carry over. But in that point, you're like, it's like the Mass Effect 2 thing where you're like rewriting like the save. You're like creating a past save file. But the moment I was like, it's like this person is speaking another language to me.
I didn't understand what was happening, so I just wung it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like I really enjoyed it. It has the biggest fake out I've ever seen as far as thinking like this game is over. Because usually when you're nearing the end, it'll be like, we recommend you make a separate save file. The game went on for like 8 hours after that. There was another point where it was just like, okay, finally they said like, this is the point of no return, and I was like, okay, I think we're good now.
I did
but yeah,
exactly
like
the same. I thought I was sat there playing it, and I got like 4 hours into a session, and I was like, right, I'm in the home stretch. I'm done with this game. By the end of today, I'm done with it. Like 3 days later, I was sat there, finally finished it. I was like, fucking hell.
It was funny because it's game's 3 years old, and Andy and I were playing it like side by side. And of course, like today they rolled out the HDR patch for it.
For PS4 Pro.
And for a 3-year-old game, you know, it had some PS4 Pro enhancements, but not the HDR. It looked real good. Like it ran really well. Supposedly previously it would get really bogged down with frame rate, and I didn't really have any issues with that. It was that was my big backlog game that I was like, no, this year on Game of the Year, it was like, no, my resolution is I'm playing The Witcher this year, and then I had to leave the show to do it.
It's the best looking game. Like my PC will run Witcher 3 on Ultra, and it's still like the best looking game I've seen on my PC.
It's one of those like test games. I gotta turn off the hair works or whatever, or like for some reason. Oh, actually, now I have an NVIDIA card. Maybe the hair works will work. I had an AMD card before.
Yeah, I didn't have an issue with that. I don't think.
Oh, your PC is a couple years newer than mine though. Like so, but I just replaced the video card not that long ago. Cool, you have The Witcher 3. That's awesome. Speaking of games that are older that I really play, I started playing XCOM 2 this week. I put about 10 hours into it this week. That game is a fucker.
Really
it hates you. That game hates you.
It's
that game
tough.
really hates you.
I played that game for a couple hours, a couple of years ago. Maybe last year. I think it was last year.
No, it was 2 years ago.
2 years ago?
Yeah.
And I got like 5 or 6 hours in it, and I was like, I feel bad about myself playing this game. I'm so bad at this. Everyone is dead.
Yeah, that happens very quickly. So I was playing live Into the Breach, and I basically maxed out my ability to play that game on easy, and so I have to move up to normal, which I heard is very difficult. So, but it got me in this mood. I was like, I want to play XCOM. So I have XCOM 2, and I gotten the War of the Chosen expansion for like $13, like a couple months ago. It was on some big sale. And so the War of the Chosen expansion is just like the enemy within expansion for the first XCOM that came out a couple years ago. It basically it integrates itself completely into the original game. So it basically replaces the original game, like, and just integrates this whole new set of mechanics into the game itself. So the Chosen are these. The best I can describe it is like it's like having the Nemesis system from Shadow of Mordor, where these characters have like special traits that like they're weak to some things or strong against other things. And they won't show up on every mission, but anytime you're running a covert mission, they have the chance to show up. And when they show up, it completely like messes your whole plan up.
Was that what felled me?
Because no, that's not what felled you. Justin died recently. I created just about everybody in the Talking Games family, and Justin was felled. The problem, Justin, for you was that you had gone on a mission prior and had a very, very good, very, 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 very good run. You had been like the MVP of the mission. But two people got badly wounded, and people get wounded, they can't go on the missions next. They have a certain amount of days they have to go. And then I also had a covert mission going to find more information on this Chosen. So there's like 3 more members out for that. So I literally had to take you on the next mission, but you were tired. So you had all these like mental stress. Like
sounds
problems.
like it sounds like when we play PUBG. At
Yeah,
night.
it's true. But I ran this one mission like I gotta tell you 5 different times. I had to keep reloading it because everybody kept dying. And so finally I got it, and I got through the part that was really messing me up. I was like, awesome. And I was like, okay, I gotta extract this person. And they were like, oh, there's incoming reinforcements. And I was like, okay. And so then I'm ready to go. And it's just one of those things where like in XCOM, like you were behind full cover, but this like sectoid walked out and just shot you with some kind of gun, and it took away literally all your health. Like you had like full health, and it took away down.
Was
all
it that bastard last shotgun?
Took down all of your health immediately, and you were gone. But nobody else died, and I was like, I can't go back.
It's all right.
I was like, I have to keep going.
Sacrifice myself for the greater good.
It's awesome though. I mean, it's a ton of fun. Like it is really difficult, but when you do stuff. When the percentages work in your favor, I should say, which works in hand with you actually being tactically sound with what you're doing, it feels really good. There are times where you're like, this shot is 88% to hit, and they're standing right in front of me, and you hit fire, and they just miss.
Yeah, that's why I really had a hard time with XCOM, but I fell in love with Mario Rabbids.
Mm-hmm.
It was because Mario Rabbids, it probably needed a little bit more of a thing. But it was either 50-50, hit or miss.
Yeah.
And you knew, like, okay,
mm-hmm.
at worst, I have a 50-50 chance to hit this.
Yeah.
It probably needed a little bit more variation, but that, like, 85 to 80 or 90% chance to hit and you would miss from a foot away, it was like, I'm going to punch something really hard in a second because it caused my whole mission to go sideways.
So the worst one that happened to me was I was on a mission, and I had somebody, like, on a catwalk or whatever, or, like, a fire escape. It was one of the snipers. I think it was Matt, my Matt Wood character, and he was on Overwatch, right? So at one point, this one enemy like rushes away from one of my guys and goes out the window onto the fire escape, and it triggers Matt's Overwatch, and literally he turns and he is as close to Matt as I am to you, Justin. Matt has a sniper rifle, so the rifle is basically touching his head.
Hashtag no scope.
And he literally like points up in the air and shoots straight up in the air, and it says missed. And I was like, I can't believe that just fucking happened. But they do have some cool stuff, like in XCOM 2, there's these things called the Lost, which are like kind of like the Swarm, or like the oh my god, what are the things from Halo called? The Flood. The Flood. So they're like zombie characters, right? They just come out of nowhere. And if you get headshots on them and kill them, you get a bonus action, like for whoever shoots them. So you can take out like 4 or 5 of them at a clip if you have the right characters going after them. But they're drawn by explosions. So if you're doing regular fire, it's fine. But if you throw grenades and stuff like that, they come. I was doing a mission. The Chosen showed up. The Chosen's main weakness was grenades, was explosions. So in order to kill the Chosen, I had to use grenades, but that brought, like, I'm not joking with you, 20 of these like things into the area. And the mission was the victory ignition was kill all enemies.
Oh geez.
So one of my characters went down, but I have a perk on them so that they go down. if you get them within a certain amount of turns, if you win the mission within a certain amount of turns, they survive. But there was literally 20 of these things.
So you weren't going to do it in the turns.
I wasn't doing the turns. It was infuriating. But I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm like addicted to playing it, which is just cool.
You make me want to play it. We've been talking about it. And
Yeah.
I might get the itch to get back in there.
It's very fun to just create your friends and then have them play these
So
missions.
is everybody still alive besides me? Because I know you lost Andy, but Andy was a clone.
Andy was a clone. I brought Andy back. No. Who else died?
Kelsey die?
No, Kelsey's alive. Kelsey's been wounded, so she's been out of action. Who else died?
Hugh?
No, he was alive. Jackie died.
Oh, well.
She's probably drinking.
She was talking about Rayman. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it
That's
quite
cool.
a bit. I finished Cube 2. Cool puzzle game. Outstays. It's too long for what's there. Like it has too many times where you're like, oh, this puzzle again, like this solution loop again, just like slightly different. But it's a fun game. I think it's like $15-$20. It has some interesting story stuff. I think the ending doesn't really pay it off. It's just it's like a very generic, like, this is the science fiction ending to this particular kind of science fiction story. Like, and I'm not going to spoil it if people are playing it, but it's not.
You should do the Turing test.
It's not great. I will. I have it on Xbox, so I will definitely check that out. The only other thing I'm playing is the thing that we're going to talk about in a bit. Huw, did you have any other stuff you were playing?
No, I mean, like I said to you earlier on, I've randomly started playing the Division again because my friend Ori decided, he was like, hey, have you still got the Division? I really want to play it. I was like, no, I've traded it in. And then he was like, okay, I'll just get you a pre-owned copy. It's only 10 quid. I was like, all right. So I guess we're playing the Division. So I'm playing the Division again. I've forgotten how much fun that game is. That's really all I'm going to say about it. It's still Division. It's a markedly better game in its current state than it was when it first came out. So if you've never played the Division, I highly recommend it because it's damn good fun. It's a great.
You could pretty much roll a Ubisoft dice with any of their games and say that.
Yes.
That a year later that game is going to be markedly better. Even if the game came out and it was pretty good, they're still going to find a way to improve it.
Division, Rainbow Six Siege. The list goes on. But yeah, it's a great game. And it's one you could easily sink many, many, many hours into. So yeah.
So Huw, you told me before that your friend Ori, who, we've talked about him before the show, he's very good at shooters.
Yes.
You sent me one today that was impressive, but you told me about one earlier today that was like insane.
Oh man, hang on. I'll see if I can find the.
So he recently got a Pro, so he re-downloaded because he had more space on his hard drive. He re-downloaded Battlefield 1.
Yeah. So basically, bear in mind, like, Ori and I play like. We tend to flip-flop between Rainbow Six Siege, Battlefield 1, but we went away from Battlefield 1 for ages because he only had a 500 gig hard drive and he had to delete it because it's like, basically 1/5 of your hard drive if you've only got
it's very big.
I'm excited about what you're saying because I've been wanting to get back into Battlefield 1 and have no one to play it with because I still have it on my hard.
Well,
I'm excited
always around, dude. So basically, like after a few months away from the game, he sends me a screenshot earlier on. He was like, "Oh, I just had a quick practice round." His stats were 59 kills and 16 deaths, with a score of 18,769. And I said to him, "Oh, were you like, in a plane, in a tank or something, or on a stationary weapon?" He was like, "No, they were all kills with my guns or grenades." I was like, "Fucking hell, man, you're an animal." He's ridiculous.
He's very good.
I used to be able to do stuff like that in 3, but since they increased the player count to 64, like you can kill 5 or 6 guys in a row. Whereas before, when there was 20 guys on the other team, you're like, I know where they're all going to be.
Mm-hmm.
When there's 60 guys running around, it's impossible.
Yeah.
To me, unless you're
Not
playing
for Ori.
unless you're playing in a very close quarters map, Like, in a close
Yeah.
quarters map, you can kind of bunker down at a choke point and really do work. That's the way I used to do it in Battlefield 3. Subway, I think it was Subway in Battlefield 3 was this like unbelievable map where I would do really well. But that was like you would hit a choke point and you would just go, like you would just work it there for a while. But in these maps in Battlefield 1, it's like everything is in the everything.
Yeah.
And I would struggle to break even most times because like cool 5 or 6 guys, and now I'm dead because I was sniped from somebody across the map.
Yeah, I mean we one thing I will say about Battlefield 1 is that like Ori and I were discussing it earlier on, is that the DLC maps have been fairly disappointing in they're just not very fun to play. Like the initial maps that come with the base game are like damn good fun and there's good variation to them. But like basically the way I play is he plays medic, I play support, he tries to keep me alive, and I just basically throw packs of bullets at his feet so he can continue killing people. And that's
You need
basically
more
how.
people.
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
That's
exactly.
good.
I'm gonna jump in there because I have the season's pass and have never touched it.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I loved that game. That was my surprise of 2 years
It was.
And he was like absolutely just like just raving about how good that game looks on PS Pro as well.
I haven't seen it yet, so I really need
I bet
to
it
get
looks
back in
great.
there.
We're gonna have a new Battlefield in a couple months anyway.
Yeah,
Hell yeah.
I want to at least get some sort of value out of that season
You
pass
did
I
that's-
bought.
Yeah, I think now you can buy like that like deluxe like edition for like $20.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They run they run sales on that season.
Yeah, Battlefield
That's-
is like always on
it's
sale.
on sale
Always on
now,
sale.
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it is. So let's still talk a little bit about Battle Royale games. We're gonna springboard it with a new game. Not gonna talk about the same old games all the time. So Radical Heights, which is from Boss Key Studios, they released Lawbreakers last year. And
But
it
we
was like
won't hold that against them.
it is a class-based arena shooter, kind of in the. If you don't know what Boss Key is made, Cliff Bleszinski is the creator of Boss Key, and he is one who created Gears of War, but he's also one who created Unreal Tournament. So it's more in the vein of like an Unreal Tournament type of game. It was a class-based arena shooter, and it didn't do very well. Let's just to put it mildly, it didn't do very well.
Pleasantly.
Yeah. You know, I didn't play enough of the game to make qualitative judgments about the quality of the game, but like the player count almost immediately plummeted, and they for a while were like, no, it's fine, like we're happy with our players, and then like a couple weeks ago, Cliff Bleszinski came out and was like, look, it didn't work out the way you wanted it to. We're just gonna be honest here. We're ending sort of like our like roadmap for the game. We'll continue to support like what is there now. They're not shutting down servers.
And I think they were gonna go free to play.
He said it seems obvious to say we should go free to play. He's like, but there is like a ton of stuff to do before you get there.
Yeah.
He's like, so it's not just switch, we flip.
They're gonna work towards.
We're thinking and working towards it, but we're not doing it right now. But we have new stuff we're working on, and you'll hear about it very soon. And then like 3 days ago, they were like, hey, we got a new game. It's a Battle Royale game, and it's coming out tomorrow, free on Steam, is what happened. And they put a trailer without it, and basically it's a Battle Royale game sort of based in like I call it like a game show. Like it's kind of the idea, like you're part of like an 80s game show. So it has the Battle Royale things that you would expect it to have, right? It has 100 players. You don't jump out of a plane, but you do plummet from the sky, and you sort of have to glide towards where you want to go. There is no parachute, which is kind of a fun thing. The first time you play it, you're like, oh, when's the shoe gonna pop? And then you just sort of like hit the ground and roll. And it has safe zones and not safe zones, and it has a circle that collapses on you. It has all of the things that a Battle Royale game has. What it has that no game Battle Royale game has is some very interesting like in-game. I don't know what you call them. They're not
An economy,
sort of.
I suppose.
It's not even just the economy. The economy, yes, but like
Management?
mini games
within
the Battle Royale game itself. So like, I'll give you an example. There's no like motorized vehicles in the game, but there are BMX bikes that you can ride around. there are certain areas where it goes like, hey, a BMX race is starting here. So if you go to that area and you get to the finish line, you get like a piece of armor or a piece of gear for winning that race. There's times where it goes like, it's a cash drop. And then like on your map, money icons will show up. And if you go to that area, money is literally just falling from the sky and you just collect it. And you just sit there and you collect it.
What's with the depositing and what's the bank system?
Okay, so this is we figured this out on our fifth or sixth game today, or like our second hour into the game. So basically, it goes like this: you get money during each match. Mostly, you pick up money as you go. So like cash registers, you can destroy. You pick them up in loot boxes. You pick them up in like different areas off people you kill. And then when you get killed, you lose a little bit of that money, but you keep some of it. And it goes into like a bank account for yourself. Now, eventually, what will happen is they have a store right now. It's all either Founders Pack. You can buy a $15 Founders Pack, of course, because it's 2018. Or you can buy in-game. You can buy currency. You can buy gems with real money and buy like cosmetic items for your character. Eventually, those items are going to have like in-game currency values that just don't right now. So you can use the in-game currency that you build up over your matches to buy items.
Cosmetic items.
Cosmetic items. Okay. As far as I can tell, it's just cosmetic items. But what's in the game, again, that's why this game is so interesting. There's ATMs in the matches. And you can either choose to deposit money you have. So you can be like, okay, I have like a ton of money. I don't want to die and lose any of this. So you can go to the ATM and deposit money in the ATM, and it will just go into the safe, like your safe, like cash. But you can only do it $100 at a time. Yeah. And so if you have like $4,000, it takes a long time. But you can also take money out of the ATM.
Why would you do that?
This is another part of the game. This is why this game. There's something about this game that's very interesting. There are vending machines in the game. And you can buy helmets and vests and guns to use in-game from those vending machines.
Okay, so here's a question.
Yeah.
So with real money, can you buy the currency in the game?
No.
So a person that wanted to be a white whale, $1,000 in, can't just run to the vending machine every time and get armored up.
No. So the
that seemed like it could be problematic.
Yeah. It's like rad gems or something like that.
Yeah.
And that's why you can buy the cosmetics. Those are only good for those cosmetics.
Anything with the word rad.
Yeah. I'm this game comes dangerously close to having like that like drawn to life like shitty attitude thing that but it peels back just enough so it's not like in your face about it. But so you can go to vending machines and like, oh, I don't have a gun, but I have $600. Like I can buy a gun. But once you buy it, that money's gone. Like you can't bank it for anything later.
Interesting.
And so okay, I have a gun now. Oh, I need. Also, there's like healing stations that you can spend money at to heal.
How big is the player count?
100. It's 100.
Yeah. And the other thing is like if you go up to a vending machine, if somebody has already used it, then you cannot buy from it as well.
That's a good point.
That item in
per vending machine.
The vending machine. So basically, say like me and Bobby were playing earlier on. I went up to a vending machine and was like, right, I bought myself a helmet. And I said to him, oh, there's a vending machine with helmets in it over here if you want to come and get it. And Bobby came over and he was like, oh no, there's only one in there. I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. But you can run around and there's like cash registers in the shop and you can punch the cash registers and take the money out of them and stuff like that. And like Bobby was saying about the mini games as well is like another one where like a massive like wheel of fortune type wheel drops from the sky, and it's got like each of the segments has like items or monetary values, and you can spin it and it gives you whatever comes out of it and stuff.
So while like these things are happening, like you mentioned the BMX race before, can somebody just shoot you in the middle of the race?
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. It's especially with like the cash drop thing. Like it's just icons on the map. So you go there, like, and hopefully there's a building you can kind of like hide in to get the money. or hopefully people are just as greedy as you and are trying to get the money, but also somebody can just be like, no, I'm just going to kill anybody who's waiting for the cash. So it's everything has a risk reward to it like that.
I won't lie, this game sounds pretty dope.
It's pretty cool. Like today, like when we were playing together, when we were in our third or fourth match, I was like, there's something about this game that's pretty cool. It is super early. So I will tell you that like a lot of the buildings like have no textures on them.
Yeah,
like it looks like it's a grid. It's a graph paper.
That's
on the buildings.
Even still, I mean,
but it plays well. Like
it does play well. It feels
well.
Good. Yeah.
It's like no issue with like lag or the frame rate's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like it runs nicely. To be fair.
Yeah, it does. Sorry, Justin, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say like Lawbreakers failed to catch on anywhere,
Mm-hmm.
but I sent you a tweet yesterday that like when I sent you that tweet, it was like the third most game being streamed on Twitch.
Yeah.
So you wonder, like, I mean, Battle Royales are like insanely hot right now. Could this one like sneak in? Could this one like punch its way up there? Like, it remains to be seen. But at least from an optics view, eyeballs were looking at it.
Oh, for sure. And I think that it impresses when you play it. And I think that for me, my issue when I play Fortnite is that I just like the building doesn't come naturally to me, right? So I'm always forgetting to build when I'm playing, and I haven't played for it to be an instinct. But I end up whenever I get into a shooting encounter in Fortnite, I just play it like a shooter. I'm just like, okay,
And you can't.
You have to build. You have to do this crazy. You have to do all this stuff. So like, what I like about Radical Heights, and again, we only played like 2 hours of it, so I'm not gonna say like, oh, it will hold up for 100 hours of play. Like I'm not going to say that, but it had like fun other things like Fortnite does, but they weren't things that like I had to like think extra about to do. I wasn't like, there's not something I'm not doing right here. It's just an extra cool thing you could do on top of it. And we did decently. We got into some gunfights and we downed some people. We got some people down. It does have that Fortnite thing of like everybody is bunny hopping. Like the moment you get into a gunfight, everyone is jumping up and down while they're shooting.
I didn't know in Fortnite though, the more you bunny hop, the eventually it
does. It stops how you can jump. Yeah. No, it is very smart. But again, it's just like a thing where like, and again, it takes it past that point of it being like trying to be a military simulation, right?
It seems like it splits the difference from the little bit I've seen, like gameplay wise, of PUBG and Fortnite.
I would say yes, it does.
And I think the way the map works has elements of like H1Z1 as well,
or the Darwin Project, right? Because it cuts off in grids.
Yes.
Oh no, yes, it does. But interesting thing about the game is that like the grids, they're like red zones. So, instead of getting like bombed, you just automatically start taking damage. But they're not permanently out of play.
Okay, they can open back up.
Open back up, yeah.
So how do they eventually close the circle?
No, there is just circle closing as well.
There's a perimeter.
Oh,
yeah. So
okay.
It's both things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to check this out.
Yeah, we haven't really experienced. I'd say like once we were past, because when you first dive, it cuts off where you can land. It's like no, like you can't land. Like don't land here. It's in the red already. You'll start taking damage. But once we start in the match, I've never experienced those red squares, like us being in a red square. I think after the match has started, but I could be wrong.
I think you took damage in one of them, didn't you? When you
that was because
your aspect ratio went one.
Yeah, my aspect ratio fucked up, but that's because I dived into it and couldn't get out. No, it's neat. Like there is something very neat about it, and I think both Huw and I were both kind of like, I think cautious about going into it. Just being like, kind of okay, like this is the fad. Your last game failed, and you're jumping in on this fad. Like what? How much time have you possibly spent making this game at this point?
5 months.
5 months. So yeah, so like it was obviously a very quick turnaround. Is it going to be worth it?
But it seems like they're at least taking a swing in a semi-different direction.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Because
yes.
I don't think you could make the exact same thing as, let's see, like PUBG started this. So like I don't think you could make an exact clone of PUBG and expect to beat it. You have to do something similar, but with a different spin.
Yeah.
And this thing sounds like it's spinning out in a couple of different directions.
It is. And as we played, that's when we started discovering those things. That's what made me go, oh,
yeah,
okay. Like there's something here because like, we can shoot people in anything. Like it's not that's not the thing.
I mean,
right?
we can't really shoot.
That's
people.
true. That's true. Yeah, but we, the ability to fire a gun isn't a lot of. So the other stuff is cool. And one thing cool too is the loot system. So you can find there's stuff in like you just pick up, and it's like Fortnite in the fact that it has color coded loot. So there's like blue and green and gold and whatever. But there's also like loot boxes like around the environment, but it takes like 3 seconds to open them. So you have to stand there and wait. It's like a mirror that fills up.
Take like a med kit.
Yeah, it's like taking a med kit almost. And so you leave yourself open every time you open one. And then there are these things where, I don't know, they're like trailers or something. You stand on like this pad in front of them and like this meter fills up. And when it fills up, like these gates open and there's loot behind it. But that's like taking one of the full med kits in PUBG. It's like 10
and
seconds,
like this
15
like
secones.
cheesy sort of 80s music playing while you're stood on the platform.
I definitely want to check this out.
It's cool. It's cool. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's very early. Like they don't even have the female character model in the game yet. Like it's early, super early. So don't expect it. Like Huw encountered something today where he got downed, and when he got downed, like part of his body glitched through like the floor of something, and they were able to shoot him. His glitched body part from below
my legs
him.
and my arms. Because like my character was down on all fours, like his legs and arms were like through the floor. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
is it like getting stuck in a desk?
Sort of, yeah. But that's just because he was down. Like once he was up, fine.
I know.
And like I opened a crate or whatever, and the bandages that came out, like you know, it like flies out, you know, like and like Fortnite, and it hit what should have been the wall to this apartment building, but instead like went halfway in the wall, and I couldn't pick it up. So there are like
all these games have a certain amount of jank.
Oh yeah, totally.
Andy took a painkiller last night while I was watching the stairs, and I was looking down the stairs, and he's in the room next to me. And all of a sudden, I just because you know when you take a painkiller or an energy drink, you just throw it to your side.
Yeah.
And I just see this energy drink just fly through the wall, hit the other wall, and then roll down the stairs. Okay.
Yeah, so this game, Radical Heights, is the latest in this Battle Royale genre. They seem to hit like this, which is like, oh, hey, it's out. Because that's what happened with Fortnite Battle Royale. It was like, oh, we have a Battle Royale mode, and it's out now. You know, and so this is kind of how they're hitting. We haven't had like a big lead up to one yet at all in any of these.
No. I wonder if we'll see one of those at E3 from one of the big guys.
It's got to be Ubisoft.
Whether it's Ubisoft or it's Battlefield.
Well, maybe there was a lot of speculation that, like, funnily enough, speaking of The Division, that there was going to be a Battle Royale mode in that. And
that seems perfect.
It's one of those two. So, it's got to be one of those two because the Division has it feels like the right mechanics for it. Not the Battlefield doesn't, but Battlefield has the player count like pretty much ready to go, and destructibility and like all that seems really good.
Yeah.
We've been playing a lot of PUBG.
Player knows Battlegrounds.
I'm now over 100 hours in that game.
Yeah. I'm over 100 hours now in the Xbox version.
I know.
I played a ridiculous amount of that game.
I don't know. Was it before or after? I ended up buying a 1X. I don't remember if that was before I left the show or after.
No, it was after.
Yeah, so I have a 1X and I'm playing PUBG on that, and it's a better experience than playing on like an OG or an S for sure because I came from an OG. But it's like that game still has a ton of issues. We play it for hours a night and stream it out regardless.
Yeah.
We're up to 6 wins now.
Yeah, 6 wins in squad.
The last 2 times we streamed, we won.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about this. The last stream, which I think went up today or yesterday. We won a game without the 3 of us didn't kill a single person.
We barely fired a bullet, honestly. I think you fired a bunch of bullets at the end.
At the end, which helped take down the guy that ended up winning the game.
Yeah.
We're getting better at the game,
yes,
the 3 of us playing together. We still make some rash decisions at times, mostly me.
Yeah. Okay,
well.
He will text me and be like, Justin's driving me crazy.
I'm like, what is he doing?
Most of the time, I can keep my head on my shoulders in that game and provide a service to our team. But Bobby says I have the kill lust.
You do have kill lust for sure.
Which I've, of course, I'm going to have that game because I play every other shooter known to man.
Yeah.
And there's no such thing as patience. It is let me go murder everybody on the opposite team, which, mind you, I have pulled off before.
You have. You're very good at shooting. If you were a little more patient, you'd be excellent at the game.
Yeah, and also remember you don't need to put bullets in people who are already down.
Huw, that's part of the kill lusts.
Yeah.
That's something that I'm still working on. So like this last game that we won, I'll spoil our stream. The three of us were closing in. It was 5 people left, and we've decided that in final circles or very close to the final circle, the 3 of us are going to spread out. It gives us the best chance to win. Whereas before we were grouping up, hoping that quantity and numbers would help us win fights. So we didn't realize if this was going to be a 3-on-2 or a 3-on-1-on-1, and that's what it ended up being. So Bobby starts taking a good amount of damage by somebody who, when he started shooting, alerted his position to the other guy. So that guy gets taken out and Bobby gets to stay alive. So now it's the 3 of us versus 1 person, and we have an idea of where that person is, and we are spread out and all converging on him from different angles. And my angle was the one where I could see him. But of course, like, I'm somewhat blind when we're playing late at night because I'm really tired lately. So I'm like, I think that's him. And so I start shooting at him. And I do a decent amount of damage, but he takes me out. He was he started shooting first. But his problem was he was right up against the wall. And so it happened to be at that exact moment that I went down, but not out. The wall started moving in on him and just devoured him instantly.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how he won the game. And it dawned on me, like, to ask, like, a minute later, like, did anybody kill anybody? Nope.
I was literally healing. I was like doing the healing animation when the winner chicken dinner thing came up.
But yeah, like, I'm obsessed with that game, even though it makes me so unbelievably angry. Like last night we were playing and we weren't streaming last night, but Bobby and I are running. Andy dies right away because Andy still land a mile away from us sometimes, which we like to give him grief about. Andy had died. We weren't able to save him, and Bobby and I we had one of those like mile-long runs to get to the circle, and like I didn't realize we were so close, but we come up and there's a battle going on somewhere close by. We see a Jeep, and the Jeep is like sort of smoking. But I was like, let's just use this to get into the circle, and we'll worry about what happens. We'll dump it afterwards. So these guys in the compound next to us just drive off in a Dacia, and we're like, all right, let's get in the car and go. So they heard us get in the car, and they literally like out of a movie turned their car as like a blockade, and we're all standing in front of it with like AKMs and just blew our car to hell.
Yeah, they just focused fire
on
and the car exploded. And Andy and I are just like cackling laughing because it's one of those things. And it's one of the reasons why I love the game. Like, that doesn't happen in like other shooters and everything like that. Like that's like a Far Cry thing happening in a giant multiplayer shooter. And we're laughing, and like Justin is just dead silent. Like there is no speaking. We go to the ready screen. We all ready up. Still silence. We're in the lobby. Silence. We're on the plane. We're like, let's go to the hospital. Okay. That's all I hear is he just says, okay. So we go to the hospital, and I'm sitting there, and I just go, hey, Justin, are you there? It's me, Margaret. And Justin goes like, you guys are laughing, but all I want to do is put my fucking fist through the wall.
It's true. You know, like I was trying to think of the best way to describe it. It's like I didn't play sports as a kid, and my parents never let me do it. But I've always been like really competitive. Like I love sports, so like I have that competitive aspect about me, but I never got to actually fulfill it in anything. So I do it through games, and so like I hate losing. And so like I'm that type of baseball player. If I was a baseball player or a football player, I'm the type of guy who would take his helmet and like Odell Beckham it into like throw it on the ground and stuff. Like that's just the way that I am. I realize it is immature and not the best thing.
Kylo Ren of talking games.
Yes, I'm Kylo Ren. The Bobby and Andy are the two stormtroopers that when they hear him going off in the room, they turn and walk around. Except all of a sudden Andy now is like to troll me while it's happening.
We've both been trolling you a little bit.
Yeah, I know.
It's been a fun aspect of the last couple of weeks.
Because both of these guys, Andy can't drive. We don't let Andy drive anywhere, and Bobby can't drive because his S might crash at any moment.
It's not the crashing. I get network lag and I like start spinning out. It's like ridiculous.
So I'm the only guy driving, and these guys will never like give me a firm answer of where they want to go. It's like I'll kind of like stop the car and no, not here. Okay, like they say I argue with myself.
You do. Huw watches all the streams. He sees it happening.
I'm just trying to be a good leader and bring us to victory.
I'm
All right,
I'm just sat there,
the way
just
I
like,
play PUBG.
jeez.
It's good though. We haven't been able to talk about it at all on the show.
That's the thing.
You
Though,
know-
when you're in a car, like, and like, if you're heading somewhere and you mark a group of buildings, like, you're just on a fucking wing and a prayer. Like, if you get there and the doors are open and it's been looted and there's a possibility of still being there, you just keep on going, and then you just rely. Like, you just got to be like, right, guys, find somewhere else for us to go. And you can end up just going round in circles all over the place, and that's like one of the fun things about the game.
Yeah. Justin likes to look at his map while he's driving.
Never been a problem. Never been a problem.
One thing as well that like I've noticed is you love going into your inventory to use like healing items.
I know I need to stop.
Oh,
that.
you do that? I didn't know that.
Like, on the Xbox version, that's one of the things it has over the PC version is that you can just tap
use
through,
the D-pad. I know.
that, hold it down, and like you're always seeing what's going on. Every time you do that, I'm just like, oh god, and I'm just like covering my eyes.
It's just muscle memory I need to break.
I will say too, like the game still has its problems. Don't get me wrong, the Xbox version definitely. But like, if we went back and looked at that stream that we did the day it came out,
oh my god, I actually want to do that. It was a completely different thing.
Yeah, compared to now.
It is much better. And they talked about the roadmap. Miramar is coming in May.
Yeah.
We're supposedly getting a test server. I have no idea how that's going to work on the console.
It'll just be another app. Like that's how they do it on the PC.
Battlefield.
Yeah.
There's a Battlefield community test environment on PS4.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So we talked about like the state of these things, right? And that's like what we were trying to discuss. And it's wild. So you have the big two, and now we possibly have a third entry into the mix here. And I can't really speak to Radical Heights because I haven't played it, and since it's so new, we're not even going to really discuss it. Mostly this discussion, I assume, will be about the state of like what we think about Fortnite versus PUBG and like moving forward.
Yeah.
Like yes, so I do think that we will see a big one at E3. I expect it to come from either DICE or from Ubisoft. Watch, it'll be something else.
Yeah.
It'll be a different Who.
There's that Paladins one coming out.
Yes.
I totally forgot.
No, I hadn't forgotten about it. Seriously. But then again, we didn't take Fortnite seriously when they announced it.
No.
And Fortnite's the biggest game in the world.
Yeah, but High Res Studios, they're just like, what game can we copy now?
I know. You know what's funny is they go back and forth. Like one of their characters kind of looks like the new character in Overwatch. So it's like, you wonder if Overwatch is that Blizzard's like, whatever, we'll take whatever we think is good. So get Bomb King, because Bomb King was really good. Anyway, Fortnite, I don't know if you guys talked about this in the show, but like Fortnite is well ahead of PUBG right now as far as hearts and minds and stuff.
Yeah.
And the release of Savage on the PC test servers or whatever, the smaller map, like it is definitely in response to Fortnite. I enjoy playing PUBG more than Fortnite, but I still like playing Fortnite. Like I watched the Waypoint guys playing it. And I'm like, I want to play Fortnite again. And then I'll play for an hour or two and be like, that's right. I'm so bad at building these freaking walls and ramps and stuff. But like, there's a goodness about Fortnite that I really enjoy. I think that if we're going to see a bunch of clones of this genre, we're going to see it at E3, like in the console space. I don't think that we're going to see it a new game announced next E3. Like this is going to be the make or break for the console guys getting in, like one of the big companies trying to break through with this thing. I mean, Fortnite just the money that they're pumping into this thing, just the constant what's the word I'm looking for? Like development cycle is like I mean, they basically shut down every other game they were working on. Come here, and then I saw somebody saying like the guy who is a Game Informer who is like running the Spider-Man stuff right now, like the lead on that. He was like the Save the World part must have gotten like a big update, and like I didn't get to see what the update was about, but he's like, I'm gonna jump back into it and try it. Like, it's amazing what they're doing. I saw like they have this new thing, which is like I forgot what they called it, an Insta something, but like you see like in the in-game visuals or like the CGI, this girl throws down a grenade and like there's an instant fortress built.
Yeah, they just came out today.
Yeah,
They just released
today.
today.
Yeah.
Which is like, okay, cool, like that's what I need.
Yeah.
Is this thing that will just be like, we'll take care of the building for you.
Yeah.
But I like watching high level, because I've now watched a little bit of both, because sometimes I'll mix when I have the hype zone running.
Mm-hmm.
I'll watch some Fortnite, but mostly PUBG. And so I've watched high level play from both of them. And the high level play in Fortnite isn't the shooting, it's the building. And like watching people like Ninja or like whoever else is like big into Fortnite, or like, you know, the ones that could just build insanely fast is amazing.
Yeah.
But the shooting isn't the part that blows my mind.
Right.
Whereas in PUBG, it's like I'm watching these guys play on like first person servers and they're killing like 20 guys around without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, watching Shroud play PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds is just ridiculous.
I was watching him the other day. And he
Like-
did like he was running around with an ump, and he was just like, it's like he didn't even look. He was just like, boop, boop,
Yeah.
and there were just two people dead. And I was like, I don't even.
I've been watching
Yeah.
I've been watching sometimes you could tell when like there's an Xbox guy up there.
Yeah.
Obviously you could tell when there's a controller in play.
Yeah.
But even those guys, I'm watching like dudes take out 10 or 15 guys, and I'm like, I've gotten 6 and felt like a god, and you're killing 6 before the first circle is closed.
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous. I mean, for me, I think the main thing for me is, yes, the fact that I'm not good at the building in Fortnite is a problem for me, but I like the part of PUBG where it's like, hey, we're going to land, and for the first like 5-10 minutes, we're probably not going to see anybody. We're just going to walk around and loot and chat and like do whatever. Like, I like that part of the game. In Fortnite, it's not like that most of the time, right? You can find places. Most of the time, it's like the map is so much smaller that you're going to land and there's people near you, and like that's just the game. And it doesn't make it worse. It just makes it something that I am not looking.
Well, there are times in PUBG like last night where it's like, let's not get spicy right away. Let's go to Severny.
Yeah.
Oh wow, there's 30 people here.
That was crazy. It was like Red Dawn in Severny. You know, Huw, what do you think about the future of this genre, and do you think like it's going to take things like what Radical Heights is doing and like doing big changes? Or do you think that, let's say Ubisoft being like, we're putting AAA dollars behind a game, it's going to come out, it's going to be completely polished, ready to go. It's basically PUBG, but it's none of the bugs, none of the anything, and it's on your console right now. Do you think that's enough, or what do you think?
I think the big thing for me is just having something that's just a bit unique, like something that has that selling point that differentiates it from everything else. Like PUBG is very realistic to a point. Like it's not like goofy like Fortnite is. It's not like there's no building. It's basically just get on the floor, survive, find guns, find armor, kill everybody. And it's a very simple concept, but it's a simple concept that's done so well, and there's such a like big propensity for, like you said earlier on with those guys blocking you off with the car, there's just always that like ingenuity and the chance for something just completely random out of the blue that you've never seen before to happen. And then you take Fortnite, which is just fast paced, it doesn't take itself seriously, there's crazy things you can do, like if you're playing duos, you can fire a rocket launcher at your partner, they can jump on the rocket and just ride it, and they can just be stood on top of a rocket firing at people. And then you've got like we said about oh god, what's it called? The new one again.
Radical Heights.
Radical Heights. I was thinking Wuthering Heights. It's me, I'm Catty.
That would be an interesting Battle Royale game.
Yeah. I mean, we've all been waiting for a AAA dev to come out and say, yeah, we're putting either a Battle Royale mode in one of our games, or we're making a Battle Royale game. And the obvious one does seem to be Ubisoft. But I don't know whether it's getting to the point where like when does it reach saturation point? Do AAA developers kind of like looking at it thinking this is already a saturated market? How are we going to enter this arena with PUBG and more so Fortnite just absolutely ruling it, and bring something to the table that people are going to play? And I think Fortnite kind of changed the game in the way that the fact that like it's free to play. Like PUBG, you've got to pay like 25 to 30 quid to play it. So, you know, with Radical Heights, it's free to play as well. So are we going to see another Battle Royale game that's ever like pay to play?
I mean, that's a really good question, because I think that, yeah, I mean, with the success of Fortnite, I think the inspiration is going to be to go free to play for most companies. I mean, to your point, I think that all of these companies look at the dollars that Fortnite and PUBG are making, and they go, "Yes, we're doing that." They don't care if the space is crowded.
Yeah, that's true.
Look what happened with MOBAs. Look what happened with MMOs. They might fail. They'll probably mostly fail, but they're gonna try.
Well, yeah, the thing is that if you compare this to MOBAs, which you can, because it's the same thing happening with just a different genre. There are 4 big ones. There is room in the space for 4 big ones: Dota, League, Smite, and Heroes of the Storm. Right now we only
2 giants,
and then 2 subs.
Yeah.
I like Smite, I think, is the 3rd biggest, but like it's not as big as it is, and it's very big.
Yeah,
it's not on the league. It's not on the level of the other 2.
Yeah,
but that's fine. It doesn't have to be. It's carved out its own lane.
Yeah.
We have. I mean, that was good. So we have room. We have room for more.
Yeah.
There's always going to be room because PUBG is not even on PS4 yet.
Yeah.
So if I'm a Ubisoft or whatever, if I'm a AAA dev, I'm looking at it, I'm like, all right, well, we could do this, right? You could have something like a Battlefield or like a Division where it could be a mode in the game. And if it flops, it flops, but it's just a mode in the game that you could have, and you have the rest of the game to stand up. I don't know if we'll see Ubisoft or EA or Activision release a standalone $60, $30 game. I don't know if we'll see that. I think it's going to be an attached mode onto an existing game. And if it takes off, well, then they could spin it out into its own thing. But I think they'll hedge their bet that way. But I definitely think there's room for
Well, I think Justin's computer's crashed. Or something. I'm still here. It's just those two. So how is everybody? We all good? We can do our own thing now. Like, we've got rid of those two. So, this is the new era for talking games. It's just me. I've gotten rid of Justin and Bobby. They're kind of still there. Like, you can see their static image. Justin's computer's died. So I mean, Bobby's almost in a very sort of Usain Bolt type pose there. Oh, now it's just me. Haha, success. So anyway, yeah, man, those are old school in the box too. How do I really feel about Wuthering Heights? The song by Kate Bush, it's okay. It's not one of her better songs. The book, I've never read it. I think I watched a drama of it once, and it was I don't think I'm particularly its demographic. To be honest, I don't. Yeah, it's not really for me. But it would make for an interesting video game. I suppose you could have it as kind of like a dating simulator type thing. But that's base. I think the reason why I forgot the name of Radical Heights was because before we started, in my head I was just kind of like, yeah, Wuthering Heights. Justin texts me saying fill the time. It's like, okay. No pressure. But yeah, like Radical Heights is really good fun if you've got a PC, like yourself, Alejandro, do. I think, don't you? Like, get it. It's pretty cool. It feels very. It needs refining. Like the movement in it's not janky, but it feels heavy. The controls, like the mouse movement on it compared to like playing PUBG or Fortnite on PC, feels very like muddy. Okay, well, if you have a Mac, I imagine maybe at some point they'll support it, Alejandro. So fingers crossed. I imagine I think maybe Bobby and I might play some of it on Friday night for happy hour. So if you want to see what the game looks like, played by people who aren't particularly talented with the keyboard and mouse, then by all means tune in for that. But it's fun. Like, it's got like those like funny little like mechanics and silly things it does that separate it, and it's got like a good attitude of its own. Like, I got 2 or 3 rounds in to playing it earlier. Like, every time you get killed, it's like a voiceover, because the gameplay like is done as it introduces itself as like America's favorite game show, and then it throws you into the map. So I got killed, and like the guy who does the voiceover was just like, bummer dude, and I was like, that's really funny. And it's got a very sort of like 80s surf bum attitude about it. But what's going on here now? Are they reconnecting? I've just got a giant Cuphead logo on my screen now. Hey, he's back.
We're back. Oh, hang on, Mike. We're back. Sorry about that.
It's quite all right.
Apparently, my cable for my power to the laptop was plugged in, but not plugged in all the way, and it just decided like it didn't want to live anymore.
Oh, okay.
Thankfully, we didn't lose all that recording. Somehow, it just saved. So we lucked out.
Literally, when I turned the computer back on, Audacity was still going. Okay. I don't even know how that happened.
I don't understand. But we're very fortunate.
And it was funny because like Justin's computer will like turn its display off automatically. It's happened like 3 or 4 times during this recording.
Yeah, I can tell because the room goes dark.
Yeah. So I keep moving it, and this time it went off, and I was moving it, and it was like not coming back on. I was like, Justin, I think your computer's off.
180 episodes that never happened.
I know, it's crazy. Anyway,
bring him back for 1 episode.
I know, and he tries to just torpedo the whole thing.
We never have technical issues, and
no, it's true. No, it's just technical issues all over the place.
At least he's using the right mic, I suppose.
Yes, he is using the right mic.
I mean, who would use the wrong mic for a year?
Oh yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I mean, I think the Battle Royale thing. I think it's very I'm very interested to see what they do
Yeah.
at E3. My guess and my gut, and I could be totally wrong because I think Justin, what you said is very realistic. I do think we get a like, I don't know if it's gonna be free to play, but I think like cheap, like standalone thing from. My guess is Ubisoft.
You think they're going to do a standalone thing?
Yeah, my guess is like, I don't know if they'll brand it with one of their big brands. I don't know if they'll be like, we got the Division 2 coming, but first we have the Division Battle Royale. It's $20 standalone. You can download it right now, like that kind of thing. You know?
Yeah.
I don't know, because
like, I don't know if they would do that because if it takes off, they're cannibalizing their own sales for the Division 2.
So maybe they don't call it the Division, but they are putting out a multiplayer only pirate multiplayer game. So I wouldn't say that they like necessarily like don't want to take bets on multiplayer games.
Yeah, no, you're right.
But we'll see. It's actually gonna be Nintendo.
God.
It's gonna be like Smash Brothers, but for Battle Royale.
I still want them to do the Nintendo MOBA in the worst way.
I think the MOBA ship is sailed.
I know, but
it would be perfectly Nintendo to do it now.
Because they probably would iron out.
Yeah.
They would have it all ironed out.
Did you hear the thing with Jeff Kaplan from Blizzard, from Overwatch? He was doing one of his like videos or whatever, and he was talking about like, he's like, look, we get a lot of questions about the Battle Royale thing. And he's like, we're all obsessed with PUBG here. He goes, he's like, first of all, the maps that we have, even though they might seem big to you, are actually very small and designed.
None of their maps are big.
No, but
Who thinks their maps are big?
I don't know, but are designed very specifically for our type of game mode. He's like, and plus obviously the hero stuff. It's like their dependencies on being on teams. He goes, he just said like, he's like, we've heard you. Like there are people who really want to do it. He goes, but when we're talking about how much work it would be, we're talking about it'd probably be like another game kind of territory. But he didn't say they weren't working on something.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that
he
they're
went
working
right
on
around, talking about.
I'm gonna get back into that game. Kelsey and I were talking about getting back into it. It's been a while for me.
I'll believe Kelsey plays it when she actually plays it.
I know.
I played a few rounds of Overwatch a few weeks ago, and I played 3 matches. One of which, the Genji on the team just kept running in front of me and teabagging. The next one, 2 of my team were AFK. And then the next one, they were shit. And I was just like, yeah, this is why I went away from this game.
Look at you being all judgmental of other people's skills.
Well, yeah. I'm not judgmental about their skills. Just play the fucking game.
The new PvE mode is out, right?
Yeah,
I heard it's very good.
I heard it's very good. I might actually log in this week to see it.
It's so funny because we'll wrap up this Battle Royale conversation with this. Last February, we were all still playing Overwatch. Like I was playing it like almost every night last February, basically. And I think I had, and it always proves, I always think about this when people say like, this thing is so big, nothing's gonna like replace it, or there's no way this can't hit. Like at that point, I was like Overwatch is a juggernaut. Like there's nothing that's gonna like right now. I can't see anything on the horizon that's gonna take like its hearts and minds like attention spotlight off of it. And then like a month later, it happened. It hits, and like all of a sudden everything changes, and all of a sudden like everybody was chasing them. They're now all of a sudden chasing these other people. And not that it's not still like wildly popular game. Obviously it is. It's got a ridiculously like a ton of money behind its pro league. It's still got a huge player numbers, but it's just crazy how that stuff can shift so quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, look at something like Fortnite. Fortnite is obviously much more popular than Overwatch ever was because it's just like in that like Minecraft like strata of like.
It's also free, which helps.
It's free, yeah, exactly, yeah. But I always, when people are like, well, Fortnite's the top dog and nothing's going to take it down. There's always something that can come along and take it down.
There's a big, like, it would have to be a substantial thing. Like, I don't know what is going to, what's going to be the thing that dethrones.
I don't know. But I didn't know that this was going to be the thing that would.
Yeah, but like Fortnite is, I don't think I've ever seen anything like Fortnite. Even at the height of Overwatch's popularity, it wasn't even.
Oh no, for like
close.
multiplayer shooter stuff, absolutely not. but like it is like in that like Minecraft sort of area right now. But we'll see.
The sequel to Minecraft might do it.
People would hate Microsoft forever if they did a Minecraft 2. It would be like the most hated thing. But yeah, I mean, honestly, like when they announced this thing the other day, now I can't remember the name of it. Radical Heights.
Wuthering Heights.
Wuthering Heights. I was like, that seems interesting, but like, but now I played it and I'm like, no, I like this. I just really like this format of game. I like this like 100 people, like big area. Let's run around and do stupid shit.
One thing I will say for Fortnite and Radical Heights is that they're markedly less stressful to play than PUBG. Like PUBG, I can play like a few rounds of, and I'm like, I need to step away from this now before my heart jumps out my chest. But like Fortnite and what we played the Radical Heights earlier on, I could just like throw myself into that round after round because I don't really like. Obviously, I'd like to win the rounds, but like I don't really care. Like if I die, whereas PUBG is just tense as all hell.
Yeah, I mean, I think that helps to do with like the fact that we played PUBG first, right? And we kind of like cut our teeth on it first, so it's like that's the thing that we learned to be stressed out about in, you know. And
I played Fortnite first, and I still think that it's not.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
it's not as stressful. Like I can't take it as seriously. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's like it's more fun to me than PUBG. But you know, they're the same but different. And that's what you're gonna need to have to be successful in this thing.
I agree.
It's got you have to be the same game, but just a different type of way of bringing it about, or a different style.
And you know, I'm fascinated too because like Fortnite is ridiculously huge. The PUBG numbers are still like
great,
amazing. Like they have like 2.5 million concurrents on like a Monday. You know, it's like for as far as Steam goes, they're like they have like the biggest the 20 biggest days of all time or whatever. And Xbox, last time I heard it sold 5 million. It's probably going to be in that 7 million next time we hear about it on the third most popular console. And like I'm fascinated to see how it happens when it comes out on PS4. Like, because by the time it comes out on PS4, it's going to be 1.0. It's going to be the finished version of the game. And if Huw can speak to this because we both saw the transition from pre 1.0 PUBG to 1.0 PUBG, like just from like a week difference. You know, the difference was insane. Like it was like
ridiculous.
1.0 hit and it was like solid frame rate. Everything looked great. Everything worked like almost perfectly. You know, it was like.
I wonder though, because while OG PS4 is stronger than OG Xbox, the X is more powerful than the Pro.
Yeah.
So
it'll be optimized.
It'll be optimized.
Yeah,
for
that's
those
what
things,
I mean. Yeah. By the time they get at 1.0, it will be a fully optimized game for.
Oh, I can't wait.
I
can't wait.
You won't be able to blame the game anymore when you lose.
I never blame the game.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Except for the fact when I can't find a gun in my 5th building. That's the only time I blame the game.
All right, we need to stop this conversation. We need to end this podcast. Hugh needs to go to sleep. It's late over by him.
Yeah.
You can follow us on Twitter at talking_games. Watch us twitch.tv/talkinggames. We do at least one weekly live stream on Fridays called TG Happy Hour. That'll be again this Friday, probably around 6 Eastern time.
Yeah,
not sure.
While you were in absentia, I gave maybe a bit of a plug for Radical Heights being what we play.
Oh, okay. I could see that being a good time. We haven't tried to stream that yet, so we'll see how our rigs take it.
Mixer.com/your3dads.
Yes, you can check that out. We stream consistently about twice a week.
Sometimes more,
sometimes more. Usually
never less.
Usually twice a week. Mostly it's been PUBG. I think we did our one wild Sea of Thieves night.
We should go back to that.
Yeah, should we?
No, I think we should. Try it again.
I definitely want to play some. We should try Fortnite one night. Play Fortnite one night.
And State of Decay will be coming out next month, so we're going to be playing. I think a good amount of that.
Yeah.
And we're gonna dig into some of the early access games on there. Some of them I'm interested in.
I would like to play the Darwin Project. I think it seems cool. And we should play what's it called Siege one night.
Yeah,
I fucking
for
bought
sure.
that game. I should play it.
I would like.
I bought it.
I haven't. I did the smart thing for a change. I was like, I'm not gonna buy this game until I know for a fact we're playing it, and then I'll buy it.
Okay.
Because usually I would have been like, I'll just buy it,
Yeah.
and then it's like, I'm not. We're not playing it. I did it again.
It was on a crazy discount that week.
I
that
know.
was free.
I haven't seen it on the discount, so that's why I waited.
Yeah. So we'll play that stuff, and then obviously my personal Twitter is @BobbyShortle. Justin.
Jaroke, JOROAK.
Huw.
I am at H_Paz.
Follow Kelsey @KelSamus and Matt @Johnny Wood on Twitter and Instagram.
Johnny
No, it's
Wood.
on Twitter and the Insta.
And the Insta.
God.
Games@talkingcomicbooks.com is the email address you can send emails to as well. That's going to do it, I think, for this week's show. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you, Huw.
Thank you, Bobby.
And thank you to all of you and watching. All of you who one watching? That wasn't a word.
Wuthering Heights.
All of you who are watching and listening. Until next time, be good to one another.